We're talking about teeth grinding, jaw clenching, headaches, and jaw pain. And in this video, you're going to learn the fourth major cause of all of those problems. And I'm going to be explaining it to you and giving you some real life examples so that you can really notice that the link between this training and the symptoms that you're getting. And at the end, I'd like you to let me know that you've watched this video. This is actually the last video it's been a 4-part training series. So if you haven't watched the other 3, come back to me and let me know. If you're on this is your 4th one, finish this video and just let me know that you've watched it and I'll have something else for you. So just come back to me and let me know that. Okay, so my name is Ellie Lindsay and I'm a massage therapist who specialises in treating TMJ problems, jaw pain, headaches, grinding, clenching, and I do this every day, both in my clinic and online through coaching as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is the 4th major cause of these type of conditions. So if you remember from the previous videos, the first one was trigger points. The second one was fascia restrictions. The third one was posture and the way we hold ourselves. And what we're talking about today is a major one, and it is stress. So we're going to be talking about how stress actually impacts the pain that we're having. And we all know this is true. You probably don't need me to tell you that stress impacts your pain, because most people that I meet have already made this connection themselves. So what I'm going to be doing is telling you why this is. So you've actually got, some biological context to your theory as to, you already know that this is happening, but I'm going to give you the why this is happening in this video. So firstly, we're going to cover 3 things here. There's more than 3 things, but we're just sticking to the most important facts. So it's actually been shown quite recently, actually, that stress causes inflammation in the body. So what's happening when we're stressed? Let's cover that first briefly. So what's happening when we're stressed is that our body is in fight or flight all of the time. So we should have the ability to go from fight or flight to the parasympathetic nervous system. We'll call that rest and digest. So we've got 2 sort of aspects to the nervous system. We've got fight or flight, and we've got rest and digest. And our body should be able to just transition through those when we need it. We might need to be in fight or flight at some points when something, majorly stressful is happening. And then we should be able to transition nicely back once the danger is over into the rest and digest, and then back and forth. We should be able to do that with ease. But because the majority of us get stuck in this stress response, we're always on alert. We're always stuck in that fight or flight. And our brains literally do not know the difference between, there being a lion at the door to us being 5 minutes late on the school run. It can't actually, it doesn't know the scale here. It's one or it's the other. There's no kind of like, oh, I'm late for the school run, but I'm not going to get eaten. It's the brain is in fight or flight. It thinks that this is life and death, and that's how it actually communicates with your body. So going back to this first point here, that stress causes inflammation. If we're in that fight or flight, the body's doing everything it can to return to what's called homeostasis. So that nice kind of like, it's keeping you alive, basically. So that if we're stressed, the body will send out an inflammation response because it doesn't know where the stress is coming from. So the stress could be an illness, it could be a disease, it could be an injury, it could be something that it needs fixing. So just in case, it sends out inflammation into the body, which would be fine if this was every now and then. Inflammation can be a good thing when we need it. And if we had a genuine injury, we certainly would need it. But what we don't need is high levels of inflammation all of the time, because that's actually going to increase pain, and often sort of, pain that's quite deep in the jaw joint here is a result of inflammation. So that's one way that stress has a real impact on our pain levels, because the more inflammation we've got in the body, the more pain we're going to have. Secondly, we hold our muscles differently when we're stressed. So going back to that fight or flight, you can sort of maybe recognize in yourself that when you're stressed, you hold tension more in your body. And the reason for that is that the body's getting ready to react. It's getting ready to fight, or it's getting ready to run away. So that can include actually holding tension in our jaw and our neck. So if you imagine we're going to be getting into a fight, if you were literally about to be punched in the face, you're going to want to hold some tension in the jaw there to actually protect yourself. But imagine your brain thinks that's happening all of the time. It's going to be sending out those signals to actually hold tension in the jaw, and not just the jaw, but the rest of the body as well. It's getting ready, it's getting the muscles primed, it's holding the body in such a different way to when we're in the rest and digest nervous state. So that's the second reason why stress really impacts pain, because if we're holding a lot of tension in those muscles, then we go back to video number 1, where we're looking at those trigger point referral patterns. Then the tension in those muscles is going to end up developing trigger points, and then those trigger points are going to end up actually creating the pain patterns that we saw in video 1. Let me know if you didn't see that video, because I will direct you there. And the third and final reason, well, it's not the final reason, but it's the final reason that we're going to share on this video, because we're really thinking only about pain and not all the other problems that stress can cause, is the fact that what happens when we're stressed is that our mind is often racing. Because if you think there was a lion at the door, you'd probably need your mind to be racing. You'd need to be thinking lots of different things at once to try and get yourself out of this situation, or think about how you're going to fight in this situation. You need your mind to race, but perhaps we needed it only to race for 5 minutes of our day, not 24/7. So most of us are sort of stuck in that thing where our minds just keep going and going and going and going and going, and the body doesn't know that you're just stressed about what you're going to have to make everybody for dinner, and not that there's a lion at the door. So what will happen then is that at night, it actually affects the way that we sleep, because firstly, there might be a lack of sleep, because you might find it hard to switch off because the mind is busy. But it also affects the quality of our sleep as well, because we actually are less likely to have that real deep sleep that we need. And we're more likely to be stuck in like the REM cycle if we've got a lot of unprocessed thoughts going through our brains in the day. So you can see how that can contribute to grinding in the night and clenching our teeth and our jaws together at night as well. If we're going to bed with that tension of our minds over racing, then that's going to sort of continue through the night, and the body is still stuck in that stress response even whilst we're sleeping. So that's the main 3 reasons why stress contributes to jaw clenching and grinding, headaches, and tension. So if we just quickly go back over them, the first one was that stress actually creates inflammation in the body. The second one was it changes the way that we hold our muscles, which then creates trigger points. And thirdly, it can affect the way that we sleep at night and be more likely to cause stress-related grinding and clenching of the teeth at night. Also in the day, a lot of people get that in the day as well, but particularly at night. So get back in touch with me now. Let me know that you've watched this 4th and final training, and I will signpost to you as to where you go next.